Whether or not you realize this, we all have mindsets, or mental lenses that we wear that shape how we view the world around us. Now, very few people ever ask the question, are the quality of my mindsets or mental lenses helping me navigate the world more effectively, or are they holding me back in some ways? In this video, I want to tell you about the difference between a closed mindset and an open mindset to help you awaken to what degree do you have one or the other, and maybe give you some suggestions on how you could shift the needle to become more open-minded. Now, what's the difference between the two? When we're closed-minded, we're closed to the ideas and suggestions of others. When we're open-minded, we're open to the ideas and suggestions of others. Now, what would ever lead somebody to be closed to others' ideas and suggestions? Well, at a foundational level, it's because they believe that what they know is best, or at least better than you. And when we have this closed mindset, we see our mind as a bucket, and we view our bucket as being full, right? We know what is best. So what happens when we try to pour something into a full bucket? Nothing gets absorbed. But people with an open mindset, they also may see their mind as a bucket, and their bucket might be quite full, but they leave room for the idea that they could be wrong. And that's the key to having an open mindset. We're open to the idea that we could be wrong. You see, when we believe that what we know is best, we're focused on being right. But when we believe that we can be wrong, we don't care about being right. We care about finding truth and thinking optimally. We're much more inclined to ask questions as opposed to provide answers. We seek feedback as opposed to dismiss feedback. We invite new perspectives and diverse perspectives as opposed to stifle those as a way to protect our current beliefs or ways of thinking. At a foundational level, if we want to be open-minded, we've got to develop a sense of humility, of the idea that we could be wrong. One of the things that I find really interesting is that the more somebody sees themselves as an expert, the more likely they are to be closed-minded. And that maybe makes sense, right? Because if we truly are an expert, we do know better than other people. But when it comes to having an open versus closed mindset, we've got to realize something. We can always have a stiff back. We can always take a stand. That is fine. That's not what an open or closed mindset is all about. Actually, the difference between an open and closed mindset is how hard or soft our front is. How hard or soft is your front? Right? We can always have a stiff back, but if we're going to have an open mindset, we've got to have a soft front. We've got to be willing to take in the ideas and suggestions. That doesn't mean that we have to run with them, but we've got to validate them. And that's the key, and it foundationally starts with humility. So if you want to awaken to the quality of your mindsets, let me give you two sources. One is my personal mindset assessment. You can go to my website at ryangottfredson.com and take a 20-question assessment to assess the quality of your mindsets across 4 different sets of mindsets, including closed versus open. But let me point you also to another source. If you were to Google Shane Snow and intellectual humility, you're going to find 2 things. 1, a really great article. It's a long one, but it's a great article on the topic. 2, he's got an assessment that goes with this. I found it interesting because I think of myself as having an open mindset. And I took his intellectual humility assessment, and he looks at 4 different dimensions of intellectual humility. Well, what I found was I was really high on 3 of those dimensions, but I was really low on 1 of those. And that was a great awakening moment. It gives me something that I could focus on to improve. So ask yourself the question, do you have more of a closed mindset or do you have more of an open mindset? Dive into that and figure out ways that you can focus more on how you can find truth and think optimally and focus less on being right.